Easter is coming up, so let's take a look at a Marvel villain who has nothing to do with the holiday, but one that dresses up like a rabbit, so that's a good enough connection for me. White Rabbit was introduced as a villain of Spider-Man in Marvel Team-Up number 131 from July of 1983. Her real name is Lorena Dobson, a young woman who had grown up in luxury. As a kid, she had everything she ever wanted. Her parents were overprotective, keeping her away from lower-class children in fear that they would prevent her from becoming a proper lady in their eyes. After the death of her parents, she would use her inheritance to pursue a life of crime, assuming the costumed identity of the White Rabbit, based on the character of the same name from Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, that Lorena claimed saved her soul when she was a child. Fantasy stories such as that one helped her find happiness while she was heavily monitored by her parents. Her upbringing nearly bored her to death. She never had to work for anything, and the kind of social interaction she was getting was either toxic or non-existent. Both are dangerous for a growing mind. Like the Mad Hatter from DC Comics, everything about the White Rabbit is modeled after Alice in Wonderland. She frequently references it with her dialogue. She's got gadgets like an umbrella that shoots razor-tipped carrots, rides around on large mechanical rabbits, and her goons are usually dressed up with rabbit masks or cat masks to look like characters from the book, something we have seen Mad Hatter implement countless times as well. White Rabbit leans way too heavily on the gimmick side of things in most of her appearances, though, that it becomes incredibly hard to take her seriously. I read all the comics she's been in, and she rarely advances past her role as petty thief or hired goon, because of how absurd the concept behind her is. She hasn't been given much of a chance to prove herself in a higher capacity by the writers, but at the same time, it's challenging, making her feel like a legitimate threat for the superheroes she goes up against. It's not like the Mad Hatter with his mind control. White Rabbit just has a bunch of silly gizmos. That's about it. Most times, White Rabbit is paired with other animal-based villains, like when she teamed up with Walrus, calling themselves the Terrible Two, to get revenge on the wannabe superhero Frogman, whose actions led to White Rabbit's defeat in her debut issue. She was a member of the Menagerie, alongside Hippo, Skeen, and Pandemania, who performed diamond heists and even stole priceless colored eggs from an auction. And more recently, White Rabbit found herself among the ranks of the all-female fourth incarnation of the Sinister Syndicate, led by Beetle, the Janice Lincoln version. Some stories have tried to give White Rabbit an edge, though, make her a bit more psychotic and unhinged than some of her earlier appearances. Her obsession with fantasy stories, like Alice in Wonderland, gave her a way to escape her childhood, but she never really returned to reality, and has trouble comprehending the severity of her actions. In one comic, when outside of her costume, Lorena pulled a Karen and screamed at the employees at a fast food restaurant for not serving breakfast past the designated time of 11 a.m. She was late for her very important date with a delicious breakfast burrito. Not only does she scream at the workers, but she physically assaults the manager like a complete nutcase. The judge who presided over her case happened to witness the attack in the restaurant and denied her bail after she was arrested. Lorena ended up escaping from prison and tracked down the judge's address, pointing a fake gun at his son on his front lawn, and after pulling its trigger, caused the judge's son to have a heart attack from the sheer panic and stress it caused. Lorena was clearly shaken by the ordeal and deeply apologized to the judge. She only wanted to pull a twisted prank on him, but of course he didn't accept it. At Lorena's next court hearing, the judge attempted to kill her with a concealed gun, but accidentally hit a reporter who was there instead. Lorena would escape death with a giant rabbit mech that broke through the wall. She thanked the judge for killing another innocent person, so she didn't have to feel so bad for what she had done to his son. Crazy. Then there was the appearance White Rabbit made in the limited series Claws that featured a team-up between Wolverine and Black Cat. White Rabbit would be shown in a romantic relationship with Arcade, a hitman who kills his victims with elaborate carnival-like death traps. Arcade would act very submissive with her, and Lorena would be far more scantily dressed in this story, drawn more suggestively like a stripper or Playboy bunny. Their relationship was a really odd one. At one point, White Rabbit asks Arcade if she looks fat in her new outfit, and he says the sight of her disgusts him, and tells her to go puke up more food in the bathroom. What the fuck? Lorena calls him mean, but Arcade comforts her, saying it's just reverse psychology. He says what he thinks she wants to hear, so he doesn't have to butcher her in her sleep out of frustration conversations like this cause. Wow. The Claws story had White Rabbit and Arcade abduct Wolverine and Black Cat, trapping them in the Savage Land so a group of rich hunters at a hidden resort could hunt them down like animals. One of the hunters is Craven, but when Black Cat shoots him in the face point blank, he's revealed to be one of Arcade's advanced robots. Wolverine and Black Cat would battle a bunch of Arcade's contraptions, while in the Savage Land, in Antarctica, a group of robots armed with saw blades on a beach, and even a sea monster out in the water. The heroes would defeat the villains and trap them in the Savage Land, giving them a taste of their own medicine, and leave them just as they are being attacked by a T-Rex. Later, we see that they manage to defeat the dinosaur, and White Rabbit has Arcade dangling over a fire because he called her stupid. That's one way to end a relationship. White Rabbit can be a lot of fun as a villain. These kinds of heavily gimmicked ones have a time and place. I don't think she's anywhere near as interesting as Mad Hatter from Batman. She feels a lot more watered down and generic, needing to rely on supporting characters, but like any villain, given the right story, she can shine. But I'd like to hear your thoughts on her down in the comments section below. I want to thank you very much for watching this breakdown. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to show your support for the channel and ensure the production of more videos like this in the future, you can do so by subscribing, hitting that bell icon for notifications, and by becoming a producer over on patreon.com if you can. You can also nominate villains for me to cover over there as well. I will see you all in the next one. Take care, stay safe, and always stay nerdy.